It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
All right, hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. Today is the 20th of January 2016, and we got almost the full crew here. I think Marco's going to try to join us later, but we'll do our usual and go down the line. So, Chris, how's it going?
Hello, everybody.
Good deal. Chris, are you joining us from the Alps, or are you back at home now?
No, back at home.
Oh, all right. Well, sounds good. So I was wondering where you're at. Hey, Hernan, what's up?
Hey, everyone. Hey, Adam. It's really good to be here.
All right, Bradley, how's it going?
What's up, guys?
Good deal. Well, hey, in case I didn't say it, it's episode 63. Sometimes I have trouble remembering the date and what number it is, so it gets really confusing. So we just got a couple announcements we're going to run through. We mentioned it last week, I believe, but the mastermind will be increasing in price in 1 week. So we're going to go for another week, and then after next week's Hump Day Hangout, it's going to go from $197 to $297. So I'll be posting the link on here in a second. If you've been on the fence, you want to join, now is an excellent time to get involved.
No whining if you don't do it now. No whining later, please.
Yeah, sorry. There's no, I missed it by 3 days. Like, nope. We've been telling everybody about it for the last, couple of weeks. So don't do that. We had a couple people make the jump this past week. So 2016 is gonna be pretty awesome. We're gonna really start focusing on the mastermind and helping our members really push things and really grow. So. As always, check out SERPspace. Go over to SERPspace.com, sign up. It's a free account. If you have an IFTTT network, which a lot of you do, you should be checking out the network management. This is a really cool option to, not have to be in your network. You don't want to spend your time once you buy it or build it in your network monitoring it. You want it functions. You just want to know when you need to fix something. And something else you can do is this is a really cool add-on service you can upsell to clients. So for those of you who do client work, you can sell them the monitoring, right? And it's dirt cheap at SERPspace, and then you can upsell them and make, I don't know, you could easily do a 10x income on this. So check that out, and then I think we have one more announcement. Did you, Bradley or Hernan, have something?
I'll let Hernan talk about it a little bit more. He just got finished setting up the funnel, but we got a plug-in for the new AMP upgrade that Google's going to be pushing in February, which is the amplified mobile page, accelerated mobile pages.
Accelerated mobile pages. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So the resident scientists, which is Marco, have developed a plugin that will allow you to set up with really simple tweaks. Will allow you to actually set up your entire website and add the accelerated mobile pages support ready over there. So it's really simple. We have created a really easy to use version of it, and of course this is the beta 1.0 version, and we will be adding some more functionality and whatnot to it as we move forward, but it's really simple to use. We're going to drop a link so that you can sign up, download it, upload it, you make a simple tweak, and you're up and running. And we are also putting together a Facebook community, which is for the AMP creators, which we're going to be discussing a lot about this upcoming development from Google, because apparently it's going to be a big one. And if you're not leveraging right now on your mobile traffic, you should. Otherwise, you will be missing big time. And as you would do with desktop applications, the better you can serve your mobile visitors, and the faster you can serve them, the better. The more revenue you will make, and that's exactly what we are trying to generate with the AMP plugin. So go ahead, jump in. It's really simple. It's free right now, and we have the Facebook community over there ready to go.
Yeah, and I'm posting it now. It's the AMP article. There's an article from Search Engine Land today, I think it was published, or recently, that talks about Google implementing this next month in February, and why it's going to be valuable. It's potentially will give you a ranking boost just from having the accelerated mobile pages on the site. And so the plugin we developed is very simple to use. It's going to help you with that. I'm dropping the link on the page now, the event page, guys, so it should be popping up here in just a moment. You can check out. It's the link over to the article, and then there's a little scroll box or chat box or something right on the article that'll take you. That's got a button on it that will take you over to the plugin download page. Okay, so check it out.
I see that Marco just joined us, so I don't know, Marco, if you heard that, if you had anything to add about the AMP plugin, or if you can hear. He might be still connecting. So, all right.
Yeah, he's on a. I think you got to tell your hamsters to run a little bit faster, Marco. The wheel's not spinning fast enough, apparently.
All right. Well, on that note, let's do this, guys. Let's get started.
All right. I guess let me grab the screen and we'll jump over. Oops, that's the wrong button. This time I'm going to go just right on the Google screen. If we need to, just somebody remind me if I end up going into Firefox that I have to show my entire screen.
Sure.
I know it looks awfully small when I do my whole screen. Okay, all right, guys, we're going to start at the bottom, work our way up, and see what we can get through today. There are still some rather long questions, not near as bad as they have been, it looks like. So that's an improvement. So
I guess a friendly reminder for anybody who wasn't here last week. We're asking people, if you can, keep it down to one question at a time if you can, and then the length, just try to be respectful. If you've got a lot of questions, ask one ahead of time, but then maybe come back, and then once it starts, put in the rest of your questions, and we'll try to get to them, just so that we can, keep it flowing and make sure everybody gets something out of this.
yeah, because otherwise it ends up being, just a couple of people getting their questions answered every week, and then everyone else gets to ask questions, and that'll drive people away from us real quick, So, all right, Justin says, I saw in a recent Hangout where you talk about adding other people's relevant YouTube videos to your own channel and relevant playlists. I've been doing this a little bit for a while now, so I was glad to see you recommending it as well. Without trying to overthink things too much on my end, I was wondering if you used any particular loose ratio of your own videos to other people's videos. You probably have a much bigger data set than mine, so I figured I would ask. I guess I still have a hang-up about losing too much link juice to other people's videos that I am pumping into my channel and link juice. I would just silo all of my YouTube videos in the playlist, leaving the other people's videos out of the silo structure in the description, but just having them in the playlist for relevance and to look less spammy, correct? Yeah, Justin, yeah, you see, you can leverage the popularity of other videos and the relevancy by adding them to a silo, a playlist silo. And you're right, you're not able to do the internal linking structure through the description of other people's videos because you don't have access to edit the description. However, you can, if the comments are enabled on their videos, you can drop a link to your other video, to another video within your silo, depending on what type of silo structure you use. But you can drop a link either to the entire playlist, especially if it's 100% relevant, or you can drop a link to one of your videos in your silo, in the playlist, okay, if that makes sense. So you can do that through comments, because comments is an internal link still as well. So even though you can't edit the description on other people's videos, if you're linking to a relevant video and you make a relevant comment on the creator's video, then you can drop a link, and most likely it won't get moderated out because it's an internal YouTube link that's linking to something that is relevant. And that's why and obviously make a comment just like you would be on leaving a blog comment, a real value adding comment to a blog. You can do the same thing within YouTube. You could also leave a big FU, like a lot of people do on YouTube, but most likely it's going to get moderated out if you drop a link. But if you leave a valuable, a value-added comment in the video comments, and then you link to either one of your videos that's related, or to an overall playlist, which would be your silo, right? And you could even mention something like, "Hey, great video, blah blah blah. I compiled similar videos into a playlist which you can see here. Drop the link." Something like that. And some of them are going to get moderated out, there's no question. But I've had a lot of them that stick. And so that way you can actually siphon some of that link juice too. So there's the whole relevancy factor, there's the popularity factor of using other people's videos within your own playlist, and then there's also the ability to drop those comment links that will help too, and that's how you get the internal linking structure into the silo, even using other people's videos. That makes sense. And it is pretty powerful. Now, the other thing that's really cool about it is if you are using other people's videos that are particularly ones that are popular, that have a lot of views and that sort of things, the ones that rank high in YouTube search, is you'll notice that when somebody, if you have your videos in a playlist with those videos, when you go to view those other people's videos, in the recommended videos on the right-hand column in the right sidebar of the YouTube watch page, you'll start seeing your videos show up in that section. And that's also something that's really cool. You can do that two ways. You can do, and if you do both of these ways, you're most likely to show up there. But one is to match the tags. So, for example, if there's a particular channel that has a video on it that's popular in your particular niche or your particular keyword that you're targeting, you can actually take the channel name and use that as one of your tags in your video, and that will help your video to show up on that when somebody's watching that video from that other channel on that watch page. But also if you put your video in a playlist along with that video, if that makes sense. So if you combine those two videos in a playlist, the other channels plus your own, and you also tag the channel name in the tags of your video, then you're most likely to show up in the right-hand side under the recommended videos, the related videos. And you can also show up in the related videos at the end of the video. You know how at the very end of a YouTube video, guys, it will show you right within the video watch area, recommended videos? Well, you'll also show up for there. And then surprisingly, we get about 18 to 20% of our overall channel traffic comes from those related videos that show up at the end of a YouTube video. So, there's a lot of traffic. I'd say anywhere between 15 to 20%. If we look at our analytics, I always find that curious that we show up at, we get a lot, 15 to 20% of our overall channel traffic comes from those. So it's a great way to leverage other people's stuff. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Uwe says, hi Bradley, I got a general question about titling a property due to exact match keywords. Okay, my customers pay me for the optimization of their videos to get on the first page of Google, but they want to rank for several keywords at once, like company name, keyword 1, keyword 2, keyword 3, city 1, city 2. Normally I would create such a long tail title for a video, for example, but now I'm wondering if it could be better to use several videos and rank them using titles such as company name, keyword 1, city 1, company name, keyword 1, city 2. That's how I do it, Uwe. I always target just one keyword, especially with it, when it's got a city, a location. I always just target one keyword per video. I've had some success with targeting two keywords in a video title, but it's not as consistent as it is when I target just one keyword per video, as far as in the title, the SEO title of the video itself. So that's why I use something like Hangout Millionaire, so I can basically blast out a whole bunch of videos targeting the same, even if it's the same video, it's slightly different, right? It's been live streamed at number one, so the video files are unique. Number two, it'll add a couple frames in the beginning or a couple frames at the end that'll change the overall structure of the video itself, and I can target multiple keywords in multiple cities and do them one at a time that way, instead of trying to target multiple keywords or multiple cities per video. That makes sense. I've had a bit more consistency with ranking that way. So he says, would the long tail dilute too much juice? Yeah, I mean, again, I've had some success with that, but it's not been consistent. And whereas if I target individual keyword plus individual city and just focus on one keyword in the title, especially because that's the most important part, then I usually have much better results. And so, for example, if a client wants to rank one video for 3 keywords in one location, or for one keyword in 3 locations, so it's 6 in one, half dozen in the other, right? So they either want to rank one keyword in 3 locations or 3 keywords in one location. I do 3 videos for them. I don't typically charge them 3 times as much. Typically, sometimes I do. It depends on the client, but what I'll do is give them a bulk rate, a volume discount essentially, and I'll do all 3 videos because it's basically the same video. It's not 3 times the work. Let's put it that way. It's maybe 50% more work because I've got the video already created, and then I use an app like Hangout Millionaire to just basically pump that video out, targeting those 3 different keywords, and I put it in a YouTube silo, a playlist, right? And then I'll just hammer the playlist with links and social embeds and all that, all the typical stuff that we usually do. And then I don't usually charge them 3 times as much. I'll charge them, I'll give them a bulk rate discount. And again, that just depends on the client. Okay? All right, next, George says, hi guys, is building multiple IFTTT rings for YouTube going to increase the domain authority for the money site? Is it a good idea to make for each client? Thanks. George, the domain authority isn't such a big deal as maybe you've been led to believe. Building IFTTT rings for YouTube channels, if you're using it for YouTube syndication, isn't going to help the money your website that much unless you have it linked to your website somehow. Okay, but if you're pushing videos out to, especially if you build them the way that we teach for video syndication networks, even if you have links in the videos descriptions that are pointing to your money site, it's not going to get syndicated across the network. You will siphon a little bit of domain authority from YouTube itself, but you're not going to get the benefit of all the links and embeds from all the properties within the IFTTT networks because those links aren't pointing to your money site, they're pointing to the YouTube video and the YouTube channel. So if you want to increase the domain authority of your site, which again, that's not the metric I'd be focusing on if I were you. I'd be focusing on trust and topical trust. And but if that's something that you just want to, for whatever reason, boost your domain authority, then you're better off creating your own network for your blog, and in using your blog as your content syndication point, which you can still do even if you're doing YouTube videos. Because think about it, you can pump out YouTube videos and have persona-based networks around your YouTube channel to boost the videos themselves. But then you can take the YouTube videos and go create posts for each video on your blog, your money site, and have a branded network around your blog, so that each time you post publish a new blog post with an embedded video, it's going to get pushed out across the branded network and build links back to your blog, your money site, right? So you can actually get twice the exposure for your YouTube videos that way, while at the same time building links back and authority to your money site, which is what I recommend you do. That's what we call the associated website, right? So that's what I would do for that. Also, is it a good idea to make one for each client? A branded ring, yes. I build a branded ring for everything. You can. I think there might be another question. I saw this somewhere, but there it might not be here. But somebody was asking a question about, can you use Tier 2 networks for multiple Tier 1 networks? Yeah, you can if they're themed properly. What I mean by that, guys, is like for every single website I build, it gets a branded network. For pretty much every channel I build, it gets a branded network, unless I'm going to have an associated website, like an attached website with the channel, in which case I just build persona-based networks for the YouTube channel, because the branded ring goes around the website. But if you have, let's say that you're into the contracting or home services industry, which is what I do a lot of work in. Okay, so let's say you've got a plumbing client, a roofer client, an HVAC client, maybe a landscaper. Let's say that you've got 4 clients like that. What I would do is I would have a separate branded Tier 1 ring for each one of those clients, but you could essentially have one Tier 2 network that all 4 of those Tier 1 networks tie into, because they're all related, home improvement related. Does that make sense? So your Tier 2 rings could be home improvement related rings that get posted to from plumber blog, plumber blog, roofer blog, HVAC blog, and landscaper blog. Because it would make sense, right? It's broad enough. It's the top level category, the home improvement category, but they could have those subcategories within it. It makes complete sense to do so. So you can do that and get more mileage out of your Tier 2 rings that way. You don't have to have separate Tier 2 rings for all of those, for each one of those Tier 1s, I mean, if that makes sense. You can if you want, but you don't have to. You can get more mileage out of those Tier 2s that way. But for each client, yes, absolutely. I always do a separate, because remember, guys, you're trying to build the brand. That's the whole point of the branded networks, is to build the brand. And remember, Google is all about the branding now. It's really important to really build the brand and have consistency across all of those sites. That's why we teach the way we do, to have consistency across all the profiles in the brand, in the Tier 1 network, and to tie them all together and link them all up. We're not trying to hide a footprint at all with the Tier 1 network at all. We're claiming our footprint. We're saying, hey, this is us. This is us over here. This is us over here. We're all the same entity, right? and that's what makes them so powerful. So hopefully that was clear. Brad, he says, hey guys, a couple weeks ago I asked about time delaying posts, and Adam and Hernan, I guess, had discussed on a podcast the fact that there was no solution for IFTTT delaying posts. Well, good news, I found a solution for this, and it's Snap, Social Networks Auto Poster. Yeah. They have a free version and a paid version, and it's on sale right now, apparently. I would love to hear your thoughts about Snap with IFTTT. I'm going to let the other guys talk about it. That it is a great plugin, there's no question. I just don't use it because I just stick, with the IFTTT networks, but I know that Marco and Hernan both use it a lot. So...
Yeah, I think I want to say we mentioned this on the podcast, Brad. I'm guessing you didn't listen to it, but that's fine. We're not hurt, I promise. But Hernan and I talked about it, and I think the downside, I'll let these guys talk to the downside. The upside is if you just needed something to delay it, then this is a great solution. Because if that's all you're using it for, it shouldn't be that heavy on any server, right? If that's all you're using it for.
Yeah, well, but, as Adam was saying, the problem with Snap is that the free version is fine because you can only add one. Usually you can add one, I think one account per social profile, but on the pro version you can get a little bit carried away because you can add more than one. You know, you can add like 3, 4, 5 WordPress bloggers, etc. And it would also syndicate out to Pinterest, I think, and Google Plus directly. Now, it can get a bit heavy on the server, so unless you have a VPS or something like that or a dedicated server, if you are syndicating out to a bunch of properties like we are doing on the IFTTT networks, it can actually bog down your server, you know, and you'll get a ton of timeouts. I know it because I put it to the to the test, and it will kind of break the entire thing. So if that's all that you're using it for, as Adam was saying, to delay it, then Snap it's a great plugin. Just have in mind that you can do some stuff with Snap, and then you can also use IFTTT for the things that you want instantly syndicated.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. Installed in. Now I'm trying to see how you. I guess you can posting delay. There you go. Okay. So, yeah, you can do that. You can repost existing posts. You can randomize posting times. So yeah, there's a lot you can do. So if that's all you're using it for, you can use that as your first syndication point and go from there. But yeah, just be careful adding it, pushing to too many places. So
yeah, and that's the part. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marco.
Yeah, the one thing that I would be worried about is that this is website based, right? It's going in your WordPress installation, and so I'd be worried about a footprint if you're trying to get to I don't want to if you're trying to manipulate too much, right? I use it specifically to target vk.com because it's a Google Data Hub partner, and so I don't use it too much, but what I use it for is to get to some of the properties that I can't get to through IFTTT.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. Is that, you know, that's the whole reason why I use IFTTT pretty much exclusively, guys, because there are literally dozens of syndication plugins out there. They come out all the time. I can't even name them all because there's so many of them that come out, and you know, as WSOs or used to be WSOs, now JVZoo offers or whatever. And I've tried just about every one of them under the sun. I don't even try the new ones that come out anymore because I always revert back to IFTTT for that reason, that they're generally resource hogs, especially when you start posting to multiple properties or you start stacking properties, which I don't recommend you do anyways. But they end up being resource hogs, and they slow down the blog, and they like Hernan said, timeout errors and stuff like that. IFTTT, the beauty about that is it's RSS driven. There is absolutely no load, zero load on your WordPress site because it's fetching the posts from your RSS feed, which is a native WordPress function anyways. So that's why I like using IFTTT, because it's reliable. And I've been using it for damn near 4 years now, guys, and it hasn't failed me yet. Occasionally there will be a little bit of a glitch in IFTTT, or there will be a feed error on your WordPress site that will cause things to not work properly. But I mean, overall, 95% of the time things work just fine, and it doesn't create a load. So, but like Marco said, there's a few extra properties that you can post to with Snap. So if you want to use it and set it up for either the reason that you're using it, Brad, which is to schedule delay posts. That's a great use for it. Also, to do like vk.com, Pinterest, whatever else that you want to post to that isn't available in IFTTT. As long as you're keeping the load light, then it shouldn't be an issue. So, okay, Mark has a question, and this was the one that I saw earlier that I pretty much already answered about can you use tier 2 persona networks over multiple YouTube channels? And yes, you can, Mark. There's no problem with that. In fact, there's a good case for building out a tier 2 network and then spending time really boosting the shit out of it instead of building out a whole bunch of other tier 2 networks. In my opinion, a well-themed and well-boosted, extremely boosted tier 2 network, one full 2-tier network, so 3 rings, that is extremely well-themed and boosted by building tons of links to it and that kind of thing, is better than having multiple tier 2 networks. Okay? Because again, it's all about the theming, the relevancy, and then obviously the power that you can produce with those over time by continuing to build links to those tier 2 networks. So yes, you can get more mileage out of them that way. Chick says, cheers, I've been digging into G Analytics inside acquisition section and noticed a lot of traffic. Chick, I saw this question earlier as well, and we actually answered, I think there was a conversation in the Facebook group about it. And it's funny that you mentioned that. Loganix, let me finish reading the question real quick, guys, and then I'm going to show you an example, and we'll drop the link to it. Notice a lot of traffic from these 2 domains across several sites I'm tracking, traffic to cache.xyz, and then some Russian link, Russian site. These sites are these sites spamming these sites? Yes, they are. It's referral spam, Chick. Unfortunately, there's a huge issue with Google Analytics with showing referral spam. And if you actually, it used to be where you could actually go on HT Access and block the bots for those types of bots, but now they can spam Google Analytics, referral spam, even if you've got them blocked in HT Access. So there's a lot, like it's just a constant freaking problem, and it's awful. You're right. Your analytics are always going to be skewed because of referral spam, and there's really not much you can do about it. However, that said, Loganix, which highly recommend this service, guys. If you're interested, you can go to semanticmastery.com/Loganix. That's a shameless plug. But this is they have a keyword referral spam script or that you can actually, and it's free. They'll give it to you free, and they update it often. But what they do, you can actually download. It's like an authorization button that you click, and they've got a bunch of referral spam filters that they've set up that they constantly update. And all you got to do is be logged into your analytics account when you click the button for this script that they've provided, which is right here, a download, update the latest referral spam segment, and it will automatically import their referral spam filters right in your analytics account and apply it to all of the sites that you select. I just select all view instead of individual. Like for example, let me see if I just actually updated it earlier, but let's see if I can show this to you. If you go to clean spam now, you're going to have to put your email address in, and then it says give instant access. And you know what? I'm not going to actually walk through it. I'll just go back and give you guys this URL. Just trust me, it's easy. Give them your email address. Then it will take you to the next page, and it'll have a button you click, and it will open up your analytics and ask you to authorize it, give it authorization. And once you do, it'll allow you to select which sites you want to apply the filters, spam filters to, or you can select all, which is what I do. And then it automatically installs them. Now, this doesn't catch all of it, guys, but they are continually updating this, so it's a power. It's handy to have, and they give it to you for free. Obviously, you're going to be on their email list, but Loganix is a really good provider in my opinion, especially for U.S. market. Apparently in the U.K. their services aren't as good, but for the U.S. market, I highly recommend this service for any type of local stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, I was about to mention just that, Bradley, the actual ability that you have to filter those referral spam. However, I think that analytics will have to come up with something at some point, because a lot of people have been migrating out of analytics and going into Clicky or HubSpot, those kind of things, because of the referral spam. So.
Yeah, that's true. It's a big problem, and it doesn't seem like their analytics, Google's doing much to fix the situation.
Right.
And it's been going on. Like referral spam really started getting bad about 6 months ago, And now it's like it's just relentless. As soon as you set up, because I used to set up filters individually myself for each analytics account, for each website I was tracking, and it was a pain in the ass. And it got to the point where once a week I was logging in and setting up another 2 or 3 or 4 referral spam filters, like for every site, and it got to the point where it was unmanageable. And so I just started using Loganixes when they started offering that as basically a lead magnet, a cheese. And now I just get updated because I'm on their list. Every time they got a new one, it gets emailed to me, and it helps. It still doesn't get it all, guys, but it does help. Okay. Okay, Kevin, we've been through this before. He says, for some reason, the Semantic RSS plugin just randomly resets itself, and I have set up everything all over again. Any reason for this or how to fix it? I know we've talked about this before, Kevin. It's most likely your hosting, because we haven't had any issues that we know of from anybody else that's having that problem. So would emptying page cache and W3 total cache be causing the issue? Yeah, it could, because caching plugins cause problems like that all the time. But there's a way inside of the advanced options of W3 total cache and most caching plugins where you can select specific files or scripts for it not to cache. I don't know specifically which ones they would be for our plugin, but I can tell you that may be your issue. It's either that or it could be like a PHP version on your hosting account that's causing an issue, because that's typically where most troubles arise with our plugin, is PHP issues with the specific version. So, and I could have sworn we talked about this a week or two ago, but the other thing is, like I said, guys, that's a free plugin that we developed for internal purposes. We offer it to you guys for free so that you can use it if you'd like to. Obviously, it's not a paid plugin, it's not a premium plugin, so we can't provide support for it, only because there are so many different hosts out there and so many different configurations between themes and other plugins that we'd have to have a full-time developer managing trouble tickets for a free plugin, which doesn't make any sense. So if it doesn't work, just use the Yoast RSS plugin, the Yoast SEO plugin, and use the RSS feed with the attribution function within that. I mean, there's that, or you can, like I said, check your W3 total cache issues, see if there's a way that you can exclude any files from that plugin within W3 total cache, or disable W3 total cache and see if that fixes it. If that's not the problem, probably need to have your PHP version upgraded on your hosting account, because that's typically where most problems arise with our plugin. Okay? But again, since it's not a premium plugin, guys, we give it away for free. If it doesn't work, just go use the Yoast attribution link. And it's not that we're trying to be dicks about it, guys. It's just it's not something that we can support when it works for our needs. And we were giving it away free just because it is helpful if you want to use it. If you can, that's fine. If not, then there are other options, is what I'm saying. So. Okay, Kevin says, I have a truck financing site that sits on page 2 or 3 for a lot of keywords, and I'm having trouble getting them to page 1. My competitors often have trust flow around 25 to 30, DA to 25 to 40, and PA 20 to 40, thin content, and have been around for 5 to 10 years. Well, that's a big part of it right there. Here's a little info about my site plus IFTTT. On page, would say 75 to 90% optimized correctly. My pages have PA 15 to 21, DA 21, topical trust flow 15 to 23. On the pages, my IFTTT properties have topical trust flow 10 to 18. And PA is 47, but most are PA1. Okay. Again, guys, I don't give a crap about PA and DA, to be honest with you, so much anymore. Actually, I do it a little bit. The domain authority, there's still some benefit to that, guys. There are some cumulative benefits by having higher domain authority, but it's not something that I typically care too much about. Like page authority, I really don't care a whole lot about. My Twitter is optimized and has a lot of social activity. You have a couple of 100 backlinks, with mostly coming from IFTTT and maybe 30 from niche-relevant blog comments and some from cheap press releases. I have crowd search doing brand plus keyword searches, Twitter referral, and YouTube referral traffic, but no straight keyword search and click campaigns. Okay. I've done a couple junky social signal gigs. Don't ever do that to your money site, guys. Don't do shitty social signal gigs to money sites. Just don't do it. It's completely spammy and it's completely obvious what you're doing. So don't do that. But now I'm kind of at a loss of what to do next. Should I just keep blog posting, linking back to the site, carefully GSA all my IFTTT posts, buy PBN links, do high quality press releases, quality social signals to all the pages, or Yeah, I mean, a lot of those are good ideas. First of all, don't do crappy social signals. Second of all, don't do poor or cheap press releases either. Because you got to treat your money sites with kid gloves. Try to keep them as clean as possible at all times, and that's in part why we use the IFTTT networks. Because if you're going to do spammy stuff, do it to your networks, not to your site. And I don't recommend that you burn your tier 1 networks either, because they're an extension of your brand. So that's why we recommend you be careful and do tiered links to those if you're going to do it. Carefully GS all your IFTTT posts. Yeah, you can if you're skilled with the tool. I'm assuming you are, Kevin, or else you wouldn't be GSAing your tier 1 posts. You could, I guess, if you're good with it. Buy PBN links, yeah, you can do that as well. The problem I have with PBN links is similar to the problem I have with using GSA or spam tools to even tier 1 posts, guys, and that's that you end up not having high quality sites. Even PBNs that have good metrics, guys, unless they're themed PBNs, they're not really the best type of links to be pointing at your money properties. And so you just got to be careful. Don't get me wrong. You can push juice to your tier 1 posts, but it's more and more about relevancy than it is about equity. Does that make sense? It's more about relevancy than it is about power. So I recommend that if you're going to be buying PBN links, that you try to buy niche relevant PBN links if possible. Okay. Go ahead, Hernan.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I'd like to know about the time. The schedule of all of these stuff, because sometimes we rush ourselves to do a ton of things, and we do not know what hit our website or what takes it to page 1. That's for once. And on the other hand, you could be, Kevin, and pardon my French, but you could be on a fucked up domain. That usually happens. If that's the case, and if you have the possibility to 301 that domain, check it out. Make a quick 301 from the domain. You just need to clone the entire site, 301 the domain to a new domain, and see what happens. Because if there is some toxic link juice going on there, and this is probably more like of a mastermind kind of answer, but if you have a double 301, which will filter it a little bit. Okay, so go ahead, try it out if you have the possibility.
Yeah, Terry Kyle, he's called that the random ranking factor for oh god, a couple of years now.
Yes.
And so one of the tactics that he teaches, and I've tested it, and it's genius. But part of the random ranking factor is Google just for some reason won't rank certain domains for whatever reason, and there's really no rhyme or reason to it. It's an algorithmic anomaly, right? And so when you go to build out a new site, I don't recommend you all do this unless you have the time and the resources to do it. But you could buy 3 or 5 domains and build out pretty much the same site on all 3 to 5 domains. Hit all 5 domains, 3 to 5 domains with the same type of inbound links. And a lot of times, just to poke the niche or to test it, you can blast a whole bunch of SAPE links, and that's the easiest way to do it. But SAPE links to the domains, and just monitor them and see which ones rank, because typically out of those, let's say you've got 5 domains and you built the same site, so you only have to build one site. You just clone it across all 5 domains. Hit it with a bunch of links from like SAPE links, so high-powered links. You only need to do it for a month, and track all 5 domains for a month for your keywords, and you'll see that some sites are going to way outperform the others. And what you do is you identify which domain is going to rank the highest out of those 5 that you're testing, and then eliminate the other 4 or just 301 them to the one that performed the best, and make that your final site, and then get rid of the SAPE links, because you don't want those long term going direct to the money site. It's okay to poke it initially, but then you drop all those links, and then you go into your normal traditional link building campaigns, and treat it like a normal money site. But you can identify very quickly which, again, random ranking factor is what domains are being affected by the random ranking factor that way. And I've actually tested that, and it absolutely works. It was a genius strategy, because I've done it before with a plumbing site, and I did a whole entire case study about it inside the mastermind when I was building out a plumbing site for a client. And I tested, I think, 4 domains. I don't think I did 5. I think it was 4. And out of all the domains that I tested, the .us domain, for whatever reason, outranked all of them. I hit page 1 on the top 3 from my main keywords within 7 days. And so what I did was I just deleted the other 3 sites, kept the one domain, and I just 301 the other 3 to the one domain that worked, and then I dropped the SafeLink package that I purchased for the 1 month, and then built out the site on that, and it did well. That client's no longer a client for me, so now the site's just been un-301'd. But my point is that's one thing that you guys can do. You can try something like that. Kevin, in your case, I know you're saying that you have about 6 months into this site. It could be that if it's somewhat of a competitive niche, I don't know what it is specifically, I can see that you're dealing with 5 to 10-year-old sites on page 1, and that's right there probably where your issue is coming, because you're dealing with sites that have a lot more age to them, which is part of the overall authority of a brand now. Okay, but 6 months, you know, you could try that. You could try cloning the site, installing it on another domain, and 301ing your existing domain to the new one, and just see. I mean, it's not much work. It's only you could do that in under an hour.
Yeah.
And then see and then just monitor and see if you get on to page 1 within a week or 2 with the new domain, and if that's the case, problem solved. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've done with a foreign niche of mine, that subdomain actually that got hit. Well, not actually hit, but an algorithm penalty, and I 301 it to a new subdomain with the exact same content, and bam, you're back ranking. So.
Yeah, and I mean that could be it, but the other part of it, if it's not it, is like I said, is you could, you know, first of all, don't do spam social gigs. That's awful, and don't do cheap press releases, guys. I mean, you could be pumping toxic links directly at your money site. That's going to cause you issues, right? And so, who's humming? Who's humming? I guess it might be Marco. Anyways, so you know, just work on trying to find out. Now, there's another thing that we're going to cover. We might talk about it today in masterclass a little bit, actually, and that's finding niche-relevant domains to use to build your own link network, because that's working really, really well right now. It's actually working incredibly well. So we're going to talk about that probably a little bit today in masterclass if we don't have a volunteer for the hot seat. And you know, that's something else that you could do is start building out your own link network as well. And you'd have to find niche relevant domains with topical trust flow that matches what you're trying to link to. That's the key, guys. So they have to be completely relevant. All right, we got to move on. Shannon says, I have locations page. If I have locations page and the locations page is different states like Florida, Texas, etc., what are your thoughts on using a follow link or no follow link from the core main site to your subdomain site? There's nothing wrong with that. If you're using if you're using subdomains for a particular brand so that you can target individual cities for that brand, which is a really good way to do it, there's no reason why you're on your root domain you can't have like a brand page for that company with an index, a locations index, with links out to the subdomains. There's no reason, because you're not going to be, you shouldn't be doing, well, for the most part, you're probably not going to be doing content syndication and link building to the root. You're going to be doing everything to each individual subdomain site. So you shouldn't have to worry about your root linking to your subdomains, because it's basically like an index. It's like, you know, seriously, it's like an index, a table of content site, so to speak, right? So there's no problem with that. I mean, there's no reason to try to hide that or anything. Just link to it. And why would, I mean, don't no follow it. Just go ahead and follow it. Whatever, that'll just kind of help spread the juice around for whatever's flowing to the root. Okay. Brian, do all tweets get indexed? Not all of them, Brian. You can force them to. Or if you have a, he says, or does something have to be done every tweet? There has been discussions all across the board. Brian, I've seen that unless you have a Twitter account that's quite active with its own inherent authority from its following and its relevancy, then those tweets will get indexed pretty much almost instantly without needing any nudging on your part. But if you've got a poor Twitter account or one that you're using specifically for SEO and it doesn't really have a true following, it's not really all that relevant or blah, 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 then yeah, you're going to need some nudging in order to get the tweets indexed, and there's no guarantee that they'll stay indexed.
He needs Twitter SEO Academy.
Yeah. Yeah, all that's covered in Twitter SEO Academy. Go check it out. It's only $147. It's we got a lot of really good responses about that too. People are actually getting clients, local clients from Twitter, by using the Twitter SEO Academy stuff. So, and closing clients via Twitter. That's nuts. I haven't even done that. Dr. Gary, he's right here. He's a master at that. Elijah says, how's it SEOing? Okay, I'm trying to find the webinar where you talked about Saper for YouTube videos. Can you please let me know where to find a quick screencast on it? No, that's the thing, Elijah. I did a video for Saper. Hernan did a training series on how to use Sape and manually create your Sape account, locate links, and purchase them. It was like a 3-video series, I believe. And then I did a training on how to use Saper, which is the software from Xcatcher, I think it's called, that kind of like automates all of it into one dashboard. It's kind of buggy, and that training's actually over a year old now. But that's all mastermind stuff. Honestly, I can't give that to you here. You have to join the mastermind for it. However, he says that's major for me to get my videos up higher. I have a great IFTTT network, still trying to understand GSA, and all I need left is Sape, and boom, I'm good to go. My recommendation is do some YouTube searches for the Sape network. You can probably find some videos that are free, publicly available on how to set up a Sape network account and purchase links on your own if you want to go that route, or if you want to spend a few extra bucks, you can find people that will do that for you, which is what I recommend, because I recommend that only because I'm lazy and I don't like spending my time going through the Russian network finding my own links. You can buy them dirt cheap if you do it that way. But I typically would just go to a provider, and I know they're marking them up and they're making a profit, but they're doing all the work, and all I got to do is go find them, because you can often get niche relevant Sape links for just a few bucks per month. So that's pretty much it. Just go to YouTube, start searching, guys. You can probably find training on that that's publicly available. Ours is not. It's for mastermind level. And then also, like I said, you can go to Black Hat forums and start searching Black Hat forums for Sape link providers and purchase them there if you want to let somebody else do the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah. Yeah, have in mind, Elijah, that it's rare that you will find that information for free, because it's like highly coveted. And I mean it, like the actual, I mean, for Sape you can get it for dirt cheap, you know, like really good links for less than $1 a month, you know, but that's highly coveted. So I would suggest that, yeah, you could go ahead and have a third-party provider, but you will be paying a lot more for each link. So yeah, if you want to save that and learn a bunch of other cool stuff, join the mastermind.
Yeah. Gary says, I'd like to know if you have any thoughts on the difference between using relative and absolute URLs for internal links from an SEO point of view. Well, first of all, I need to know what the hell is a relative and absolute URL before I can answer that question. Somebody want to define that for me, because I'm not sure what he's talking about.
I would guess. Well, I'm just thinking of in terms of e-commerce, and where like something's put together on the fly as opposed to a static URL, like pointing to a product or something like that. But I could be totally wrong on that. So.
Yeah, I can't. Until I understand the definition of relative and absolute URLs, Gary, I can't answer that question. I would really just be pulling something out of thin air to try to throw you an answer, and I don't want to do that because it would sound like nonsense, which it would be. So we'll move on if you want to define that. Gary, we've got a masterclass in a minute. Oops. And we've got mastermind coming up tomorrow, so maybe that's something we can cover there. Okay, well, and I don't have time to read that right now anyways, but thank you, Chris. I'll research that a little bit, and we can talk about it tomorrow during Mastermind. Okay, let's see. What's next?
Clint was next one. So he's asking about no forms issue with the AMP pages.
Gravity forms don't work on AMP pages. I have no idea. This was just released to us today. Like, Marco just gave it to us today, so I haven't even had a chance to test it. Marco, do you have any idea?
No, I have no idea because I haven't tested it on Gravity Forms. I mean, it was just put out. It's working really well in converting all of the pages, but I haven't had time to test every single form, like you know, Contact 7, all of the other different forms. So
yeah.
And you can join the Facebook group, because we're having an exclusive Facebook group, and we'll try to figure it out together.
Yeah, that'd be great, Clint. Actually, that'd
I'm
be a good
gonna
idea.
I'll drop the link in there too for the funnel. We dropped the article link, but I'll put in the funnel link.
Yeah, that's right. Those discussions, Clint, just post them right in that group, and we'll get it worked out, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's also a forum that you can go to, which goes straight to the developer.
Okay, the Google form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a link on the to the Google form on the Facebook group actually.
Which is like a bug report type thing. Okay.
It's bug report, it's feedback. So, if you want to see anything added to it, or if something isn't working quite right, whatever, that's what it's for. Number one is report issues, and number two is feedback.
Okay. So like you can say like you guys suck if you want or something in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Okay.
hate you freaking plugin. Bunch of whatever.
Sandra, she says, hi guys, about how you charge clients. You charge a setup fee for the branded network, then I imagine you charge a monthly fee after that. Sandra, that's a good question. What I do is I charge for the setup, and then I don't charge a monthly fee per se for the networks themselves. However, you can, especially because of using SERP Space now with our network monitor. That's a way, like Adam just said at the very beginning of this webinar, that you guys can use that as a network management fee or monitoring fee that you can mark up like 10 times from what you're paying us for the service, and charge that as a client. However, how I get the monthly fee, Sandra, is that the IFTTT network in itself is valuable, and there's no question. But where the true value comes in, or where it's most effective, is when you have a content marketing strategy in place and you've got a publishing schedule. Okay, and so first of all, I sell the networks to the clients, but then I upsell them on content marketing, or it's part of an overall SEO marketing, an SEO campaign, SEO strategy that I'm selling them on, in which content marketing is part of that. That's where the monthly fee comes in for me. So if I'm providing SEO services, then it's just content marketing is just part of an SEO strategy now, period. If somebody doesn't want to do content marketing, I tell them, okay, then I can't do organic SEO for you. I can do Maps SEO, but I can't do organic SEO unless you're doing content marketing as well, and it's going to cost you this much. Included in that includes the reports every month, as well as link building to the networks, updating your social media accounts, which is done via IFTTT and the content marketing, but they don't, a lot of them don't grasp that. But just so you know, that's typically what I do. Like and a lot of our students actually charge more than I do for clients for building out branded networks. I charge $700 to do a tier 1 network only for clients. That's a branded network that's setting up all their social media properties, including some of the ones that aren't in the actual IFTTT training, like a Facebook page, for example, a Facebook page. However, and a LinkedIn company page, but a lot of the times they have those already. They were poorly optimized. So as part of my $700 tier 1 package, branded tier 1 package, I will update those Facebook page and the LinkedIn company page, put graphics across all of them that are consistent, tie everything together, tie everything back to their website, do all the interlinking, set up the RSS 2 recipes, and then set up for the monthly. That's what I was getting at, was I set up a content marketing schedule. Depending on the client, it ranges anywhere between a minimum of 1 post per week to as much as, for my clients, 3 posts per week. There are some clients or some industries that you'll get into where you could be posting once or twice per day, and that would be normal. For the industries that I work in, it's usually I post. Most industries I work in are between 1 and 3 posts per week, with an average being 2, obviously. Okay, and that's in the home contracting industry. So that's what I charge the monthly fee for. If they stop paying, do I bring the links down? No, I don't, because it's a branded network. They've paid for that network, and so their content marketing strategy was, which the monthly is, that's me, my team, creating content and posting to their money site blog, which then syndicates to their branded network. If they decide they don't want my services anymore, then we just part ways. They get to keep the network and all the links that were built because it was content distributed from their blog. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So any of the off-page SEO stuff that I do direct to their site, I don't do direct to their site. I do it through a 301 domain so that way, in case they stop paying me, I can un-301 the domain and point that juice anywhere I want. But for anything done on their branded properties, they get to keep that. That's just part of the deal.
Yep. What I wanted to say also, Sandra, that if you're not into creating content or curating content, which can be a business in and of itself, you can always do as Adam was saying, you know, plug your IFTTT networks into SERP space and monitor those networks for your clients and add a premium. So that's easy.
Yep. Okay, looks like we are about out of time, but Adam Patel, new client has a virus on their WordPress install. I can't move them over to my host right now as the zip gets deleted. What's the best way to remove viruses in WordPress, guys, and what's your favorite way to move backup clients from their old host to yours? Backup buddy, etc. Adam, what I would do for a virus on the site is I usually just contact the host. If you're dealing with it could be that you're dealing with a shitty host, and if that's the case, then I don't know what to tell you. But typically, whenever I've had an issue with a site being hacked or some sort of malicious code on the site, I just contact the host. That's why I like using good hosts like Liquid Web, for example, because they'll take care of it for me. If you're on a shitty host and they won't provide that kind of a support, and maybe that's why you're trying to move them from one host to another, then my next, and I'll let the other guys chime in here, but my next step would be to go to Upwork and try to find somebody that is an expert in that kind of stuff and just hire them to fix it.
Yeah. I got the help. Adam, talk to Clint because he helped me with one of my websites, with my main website, who got infected. That got infected, and I got it on HostGator. So you could imagine the support. Now I have it on Liquid Web. So talk to Clint. He's really knowledgeable, and he will help you. You know, with your issues with your work.
And you guys are both mastermind members, so
yes.
Start that discussion in the mastermind. That would be a good one for everyone to, you know, learn from. So.
Yep.
What's my favorite way? I use when I'm moving sites. I use well, first of all, I've got a WP admin guy that I hired from Upwork who works for us part time now, and he just handles everything. But whenever I move my own sites for whatever reason, if I don't want to wait for my, you know, because he's in the Philippines, if I don't want to wait for him and I got something that needs to be moved like immediately, I just use a script that was from Peter Garrity a while back called Replicator Pro. I don't even think he sold it. I think it was just a bonus for one of his other products. I just use that. It's a cloning script. It works really well for me. It doesn't work on every site. Once again, it depends on the host, but for the most part, like probably 90%, 9 out of 10 times it works, and it works quickly. And I just know it. I could do it with my eyes closed, to be honest with you. That said, I know Adam likes to use main WP, right, Adam?
Oh yeah, love it.
And they've got the cloning feature where you can migrate sites, and it's supposed to be incredibly easy to use. I've never used it just because I use my own script, but
yeah, it's dead simple.
The easiest way though is just to hire an outsourcer. You know, I got a WP admin guy that does it. So what's my favorite way to do it? Tell him to do it. You know, so hopefully that makes sense. All right, guys, 5 o'clock. We got masterclass starting in just a minute, and I've got to set up the actual video for that. So thanks for everybody being here. We'll see you all.
Yeah, and if you haven't yet, I'm going to drop the link for the AMP plugin. Go check it out. That update's coming down the line. So sign up, grab it, and join the Facebook group.
Get it while it's free.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next week, I guess. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.